Hi there, I'm Cheyenne.
And I'm Juan.
And we are Down with the Dominguezes.
Oh my gosh.
Hey there, everyone. I am Cheyenne Dominguez, and I'm here with
Juan Dominguez.
Hey, darling. This is Down with the Dominguezes. Thanks for joining us. So, we want to dedicate this episode. It's the middle of summer. Where we are in Maryland, it's been in the high 90s every day. But even though it's the middle of summer, it's July, and a lot of kids are not back in school because of coronavirus and aren't going to be back in school because of coronavirus. There is an exception to that we know about, and that is your alma mater. Good old United States Military Academy at West Point cadets are back to campus. You can't keep the Army down, so this episode is dedicated to all those cadets who have reported for duty at West Point.
Socially distanced basic training.
Wow.
So that's interesting, and I know that the staff and the cadre up there are doing everything they can to make it a safe and a good experience for the new cadets. Mm-hmm. So I started, I think, 35 years ago on July 1st. That was my first day of cadet basic training. So
wow. And I remember you told me the story. You slept with your alarm clock on your chest the night before so that you wouldn't wake up late.
We were at some hotel off campus, and I remember it was like
your dad didn't want you to be late.
It was like Dead Man Walking. I had an old wind-up alarm clock on my chest. I think we woke up at 6. I was one of the first knuckleheads there because you had all day to register and go in. But you know, the kind of hazing started, you know, as soon as you got there. So it would have made sense to start the day a little later. But
right,
we were there at the crack of dawn, you know, as per my dad's kind of ways.
Yeah. And what did you tell me? You had like 60 seconds to say goodbye to your family or something?
Always have like pause when we were at the football stadium and they did a little 15-minute speech. Maybe it seemed that long, a little, you know, introduction, and this is what the day would look like. And then all of a sudden they said something like, you have 37 seconds to say goodbye to your loved ones. I'm like, 37 seconds. That's, you know, and my last words to my mom were like, it'll be like summer camp. Don't worry. And then we went down into the bowels of the football stadium, and it was a nightmare camp, not a summer camp.
Wow. But cadets are back. That's amazing. Socially distanced boot camp. So good luck to all those West Point cadets.
Good luck to them indeed. And it was funny. I'd recently joined a couple of Facebook groups. One is called Old Grads because we refer to ourselves as old grads. And another is what the West Point Hispanic graduate Facebook group. Right. And they were telling there's about 100 or so of us in the group. And it was funny stories about being a cadet. And, you know, we were talking about our language experience there because it's mandatory to take I think 2 or 3 semesters of a language. And during basic training, I kind of tested out on the placement test and did very well in Spanish, obviously, because I'm fluent in Spanish. And instead, I decided that I was going to take German.
But and for the record, you could have taken Spanish.
I could have taken Spanish.
Even though you already spoke Spanish. You could have taken Spanish and probably gotten a very easy A. One of the only easy A's, I'm sure, at West Point for someone to take.
Yeah, even gym was I would get C's in gym. So yeah, there wasn't an easy A to be found. Spanish would have been it.
That would have been it.
And the head of the foreign languages department brought me in.
You decided to enroll in German.
I decided to enroll in German because, you know, hey, if I could learn Spanish, I could learn German, right?
Right.
And I remember he brought me in and he said, Cadet Dominguez, you realize that you're probably giving up 3 A's for something less than an A. And I was like, oh, sir, it'll be fine. I'm going to go over to Europe and serve, and it'll be great to know, you know, the local language. And he shook his head and said, okay. And I still remember my first day of German class. The professor walked in. His name was Lieutenant Colonel Neumann Giesen of the German Army. And he was like, cadets, ein, zwei, drei. And we started conjugating verbs. And he was like, no, stupid. No, that's wrong. And I was like, oh, boy. And I struggled to get like 3 C's. I'm not even getting a C- in those 3 semesters of German.
But you were already on the path. And
no one could talk me out of it, as you know. As you know, no one could talk me out of it. And To this day, I can only order a beer in German, ein Bier bitte, and I think I can hail a cab. Or yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
you probably just have to throw your arm up in the air. It's
That's-
a wild guess, honey. I could probably hail a cab in Germany
Yeah,
too.
not my best moment. Not my best moment in that decision. So
Yeah.
we got a good chuckle in the Facebook group about that story.
Oh boy. So, all right. Well, good luck to all the cadets out there. So, the other thing that's open for us, so we've been trying to spend some time outdoors, socially distant, of course, and the pool open near us. So we decided to have a crack of going swimming and doing it as safely as possible. And but apparently I've not kept up my beautification routine,
Well,
and our youngest noticed.
Crack was a Freudian slip there, actually, because we were in the pool and we're all kind of playing some game or just horsing around, and his hand brushed up against your foot, and his exact words were something like, wow, those are some dry, cracked feet, Mom. You better get yourself some Gold Bond.
You better get some Gold Bond.
It moisturizes and heals cracked feet. He knew the commercial.
He repeated the whole commercial.
Yeah, it was hysterical. Followed then by.
And then it didn't stop there.
The fun didn't stop there.
It didn't stop there. And then he said, "Wow, oh, Mom, your legs are so hairy."
I guess you didn't know that women had hairy legs. So
I have dry, scaly feet and hairy legs, but I was at the pool.
Luckily, due to social distancing, all of the people around you didn't hear the mortification.
No one was within like 50 feet of me, thank goodness.
Oh, that was some pretty classic stuff. Yeah.
So I came home and shaved my legs and put on my lotion on my heels.
Well, as we're talking about the little one, for those parents out there that are in Kidz Bop purgatory,
we got a young one.
We've graduated Kidz Bop. Channel 77 on Sirius XM.
Channel 77, Sirius XM.
We're done.
Kidz Bop. We've been listening to that for
our youngest, 16 years, maybe? A long time.
Our teen, he listened to Kidz Bop. So Kidz Bop is basically like a channel where a group of kids, or they're like a band of kids, they are singing pop songs covers, but they're, without any, no bad words. Sometimes they change the sentences a little bit to make them more
family friendly
for kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a group of kids singing everything, and after a while, it's.
You think the kids had the original song? Because when you hear an original, sometimes you're like, oh, I didn't know that person sang.
I didn't know Taylor Swift sang.
You've never heard the original
because I never heard.
Because we hear Kidz Bop. So we've graduated. Maybe not to the Beatles channel, maybe not to Bruce, but to the Pulse and the Blend.
These are the channels he likes: the Pulse and the Blend, which are kind of like
Pulse
poppy,
is a little poppy,
rocky,
and then the Blend is a combination of
new and old pop stuff.
Thus the Blend, and the challenge of the Blend is anytime an artist comes on that we actually want to hear, that's like over 40, he's like, oh, turn that off.
He's like put it back to the Pulse.
Phil Collins, Celine Dion.
They're
doesn't matter.
Yeah, they're like, he thinks
ancient.
They're ancient.
They're ancient history. They're like Beethoven.
I know. Sometimes a song comes on, I'm like, this is a great song. He's like, no, put it back to the Pulse.
We're getting there.
I'm thinking, well, at least we're not putting it back on Kidz Bop, right?
That's true. little victories, honey. Little victories.
Little victories.
And, speaking of powers of observation, I got to tell you, I had a couple of revelations, and maybe you want to tell a story about my last uncanny power of observation.
Oh boy!
Which was, I was looking at Alexa the other day, and I saw.
You can't say her name, or she's gonna pop on while we're recording.
But she's listening even more than what she is. Wow. Okay.
You were looking at the screen.
Looking at the screen, and I was like, "Oh, that's a cute." What's that called? Screensaver.
Like a background.
Yeah, like a screensaver. And I thought they changed all the time, but I mentioned to you, oh, it's a cute screensaver today.
Yeah, the flamingos. It's very tropical.
Flamingos. And what did you say?
It's been that way for 2 years. And all of a sudden, the most random day, you're like, oh, new background on this device. And it's been there since we got it.
Well, at least I finally know that
You finally noticed.
I finally noticed.
That reminded me so much when you did that. That reminded me of way back when we lived outside of Philly and had, put all of our furniture and decor and everything throughout the house, including the bedroom. We're there for, I don't know, how many years?
Well, we
was
lived
it?
there
3
8 years.
Yes, I want to say we were there 3 or 4 years. And one day you walked into the bedroom and you said, "Oh, wow, that Marilyn Monroe painting, that looks great
Over the
over
bed.
the bed." And it had been there for over 3 years. And it was the first time you noticed it walking right into the bedroom above the bed.
So I must say that
So,
the men that are listening,
like the 2-3 year mark is where you really, your attention to detail really kicks in.
It really kicks in. But looking at the flip side of that, the men out there must be thinking like, "Wow, you're so beautiful, Cheyenne, that
You didn't notice
I
Marilyn
didn't
Monroe.
notice Marilyn Monroe over the bed for 3 years." So that's the positive side of that
Yeah.
story.
That painting's in our bedroom now.
I didn't know.
It's in a different spot.
I didn't know that. I gotta go look. I gotta go see what wall that's on. I like that picture.
Yeah, I like it too. Oh my goodness. So before we wrap, we have to make a big announcement.
Huge announcement.
Yeah.
We
so
bought
we might in the future, I might be introducing Juan instead of Juan Dominguez. We might be calling him Clark W. Griswold.
That's right. That's right. We made the big leap. Instead of investing in a vacation home, we bought a vacation home on wheels.
We did. We bought an RV, and I feel like future episodes of this podcast might look like the movie City Slickers. That's why we are so not wise or handy,
wise,
or,
and not a particularly great driver, to be honest. I'm not. I mean, I'll call it what it is. I'm not the best driver in the world. So,
well, I didn't say that, but that I would agree.
I noticed by the death grip that you have on the dashboard whenever we drive anywhere. But so yeah, I think that we can talk folks through the thought process there. We almost got a boat instead.
Well, you thought of getting a boat, and then I thought how scared I would be with you driving a boat. There are no traffic lights or anything.
I liked the boat idea until
no roads.
Until I realized that it didn't necessarily come with a captain, and that I would have to, I thought the boat came with a captain.
Yeah, we're not at that place, honey. That's far beyond our reach.
way out there.
So future episodes, we will be sharing with you some of our RV adventures. First, we got to figure out how to drive the thing. So we'll start there.
Yeah. And how not to negotiate. We'll kick off with that. How, don't bring your kids to negotiate the price.
Yes, because they won't help you get a better price, especially if they show all their excitement and their joy in front of the salesperson.
Yep. Yeah, to be continued.
To be continued. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Good luck to all our cadets at West Point. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks.
If you've enjoyed Down with the Dominguezes, it would mean so much to us if you'd leave a review and share it with a friend. Thanks, everyone.